Erica, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to just talk with you, get to know you, and to share your story with our audience. And so I want to start with something really, really simple.
Sure.
Because you've worked, from what I understand, you've worked across nearly every layer of the automotive ecosphere,
Yep.
from dealership operations and OEMs and tech. How has that just breadth of that wide vastness of service, how has it shaped the way you see the industry differently today?
That's such a great question. It's funny. I joke that it has made me like a ninja in some ways.
Okay.
Because like growing up in a dealership, right? Like you see how things go, you see the operations, and you think this must be how everybody works. And then all of a sudden, as I got to Toyota and Nissan and started working in tech companies and started working in other sectors of the industry, all of a sudden you start to realize no, this is not how everyone operates, right? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you almost spit out your coffee, but like, and again, I love my family dearly, but like, there were some things I think they were really, really good at. And like, there's a reason that they've had their dealerships for almost, I mean, cumulative with my grandfather, like 50 plus years, right? Like, there's certain things that they've done very well, but then there are definitely other things they have not done very well, right? And so, like, being able to get exposure to that, even from a dealership level, was eye-opening, right? Like all of a sudden it's like, wait, you don't do it this way, you don't do it that way. Why? What's happening here? How do you, connect with your dealers or customers? And like just the dynamics of everything was like the first layer. And then when I went to the tech side of things, being able to understand the tech stack within dealerships, right? Like, because they vary. And
Mhm.
especially, you know, 15, 12 years ago now, I mean, tech stack was not something you even discussed, right? They were like, I don't know, I got a DMS and a CRM and a this, and you're like, okay, well, that's good, right? Like something. And then, getting to companies like Experian with credit data and the way that that plays into not just obviously buying a car, but in general, right? Like general life, being able to understand, digital marketing, not just from like a dealer ad agency, like where I was at previously, but also from, a very large marketing agency like Constellation that works not only within automotive, but also B2B, B2C, like Nordstrom was a big client, and being able to see how other retail companies work with their clients and, think about their marketing strategies, think about their branding. That's something that I work on with a lot of people, not just here at Recall Masters, but in general within, my role at Wocan and even some dealers that I, have are friends with of like, okay, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? Right? Like, which is probably the most foundational thing in our business, but people often don't think about it. And so
Mhm.
I love that I have this huge breadth of experience and knowledge that I can bring to any of my partners, right? And say, hey, I know you're thinking of it in this silo, but I think you need to think of it in this silo as well because they actually coexist together. And all of a sudden they're like, really? I don't think sales and service coexist together. And it's like, no, they're actually really, really close. Like even more so parts and sales. And I'll get people like, wait, parts and sales. I'm like, just trust me, follow me down my yellow brick road and I will show you, like,
Oh, I love it because it's so true. It's like this beautiful, just interwoven circle that we all depend on. Like I said, in the ecosphere, we have to
hmm
have the one another to thrive. Um,
yes.
and I love that you're bringing that first person wisdom and that experience
Thank you.
into what you're doing. And so it's just so wonderful to see. Now, that being said, because I stalked your LinkedIn just a little bit, um, you said that this experience that you have allows you to see the patterns that others miss. What is an example of this pattern that you learned to recognize that's changed how you lead or make decisions?
Man, you're hitting me with great questions.
I
Like
mean, I
I
know I
love
don't keep it
this.
surface level.
I love this. This is my jam. Like, I think for me, having grown up, and again, like even for myself, right? Like, I'm not super old, but I'm not super young. I'm 38. But at the same time, like I have seen the progression from, like the old fax style machines in finance that you had to put everything through to today with tablets, right? Like, and you see the way that the dealership model has progressed so quickly and so rapidly that again, like we were talking about, is just one part of the ecosystem. Then you take on the tech side of things, you take on marketing and advertising, and how much that has changed, right? Like I was talking to a dealer the other day, I'm like, we don't have newspaper ads anymore, right? Like there's no local community little, hey, this is who I am, so what are you doing on your social media to help convey that same message? And it's like taking someone who's like, I've never even thought of this way, to then bring them into something that's going to be more beneficial for them, sometimes is not the easiest discussion, right? Like change is hard, and God knows I've had many changes in my life that I'm like, I wish I did not have to go through that, right? Like but I think what with my little autistic brain that I love is like being able to see those patterns and being able to bring it and make it relatable and digestible to other humans has really been a strength of mine that I really love, and I'm passionate about. Like I'm passionate about it, whether it's my role at Recall Masters, my role within Wocan, or just my role in the industry in general, is being able to talk to someone and say, what are you dealing with? How can I help you? What's something that if you could change tomorrow, right? Like it would make not only your life easier, but your employees' lives easier. Like those are the type of questions I love to ask, and I love to help someone down that path, because those are the type of patterns 90% of the time is people related, right? It's not even the tech related. It's not this. And I feel like that's been a lot of my discussions in the last few months, is like, just how do you help your people adjust to the changes that now are required to be able to do business in this industry today?
Right. Oh my God, that is so good, because we think of management as the things that we have, the processes, that stuff, but really it's the people. It is the people. One, it's the people in this industry that have kept me in it. It's not,
Same.
oh, because I love a car or because my background was in marketing. It's like, no, I stayed because of the people. And so
Yep.
when we learn to help serve our people well and develop them and grow them and acknowledge that, Billy's not going to need the same thing as Julie, and give them what they need to grow and to be successful. So much has shifted once, it seems, from what I'm seeing, because I've been in the industry for about, oh God, 28 years, something like that, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
close. Um, when we learn to give them what they need, as opposed to every single peg must fit in this hole right here, that's just what
Yeah.
it is, we're seeing an explosion of growth and young people coming in and being given a voice.
Yes. Which honestly I think is the most exciting thing to me, because and I know I've shared stories on LinkedIn as well of like, I came in and I was being told I'm way too fiery, right? Like my hair wasn't right because it was too big and too loud. If this industry doesn't tame you, I will, right? I got told that once. And I cannot begin to describe the level of anger I held on to for quite a few years because of things of that nature. And now I've realized, you know what? This has only been the fuel for my fire to be even better and even brighter and even louder, because I don't believe that I have to make the path behind me harder for others. I believe I can make it a lot easier, and I can warn them about the booby traps, and I can tell them like, hey, by the way, you don't want to get close to that cliff, because you get close to that cliff and you're going to be like Jack and Jill going down. It's not fun, right? Like,
Oh my gosh. So absolutely. Oh gosh, absolutely. And that actually leads right into the next question I have for you, because I watched a video of yours where you shared a reflection after the Super Bowl, where you talked about how talent and resources mean very little without the right people believing in you. Can you unpack that lesson just a little bit more for us?
yeah. So again, like I'm a Pats fan through and through, right? I grew up in New England. I'm a Boston girl,
Okay.
but at the same time, like, I love Boston sports, but I truly do believe that the Patriots they didn't have the fire in the belly, as Arnold Schwarzenegger likes to call it, right? Like, and I
Hmm.
literally said this to a GSM that I'm friends with yesterday. He's like, I need new talent. I'm like, you got to find the people with the fire in the heart, right? Like that have that burning desire to want to be better, to want to grow. And my grandfather would always say it to me. He's like, Erica, I can teach any process. I can teach anything. So you can have all the talent in the world, right? But if you don't have the heart, I
Mm-hmm.
got nothing. I got nothing at all. And I always think about that. And so I think the Seahawks had all the heart in the world. They had all the fire, all the passion, and I'm so glad that they won. Like it was a moment of like even being a Pats fan, I'm like they were the winners, right? They stepped onto that field as winners. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where, I think in our industry especially, you hear about mindset trainings, you hear about this, you hear about that, but it's like this flip in the pan and all of a sudden you're like, oh, like it's not being practiced. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's for me, like you not only need to be talented, you need to have a certain charisma or whatever, but you need to practice and you need to train. And that's where my grandfather was always really really strong at, is like bringing in motivational speakers here and there and like growing their people. And I know I shared it at the Women Driving Retail breakfast, but during my mom's funeral line, so many people came through and said, your parents really made me who I am today, right? Like they gave me the shot, they gave me the training, they made me be a better person. And I think that's the most beautiful part of,
Mm-hmm.
working and being with dealerships, is like I know that's not always so rare, right? Like I've heard those stories of, so and so gave me that shot, so and so made me the person that I am today. And I think that's the most beautiful part of our industry. And I wish we could hear more of those stories because they deserve to be told.
Absolutely. When at my last corporate position, because I've been self-employed now for a few years, but my last corporate position, I was a hiring manager and director, and I would go rounds with our CEO over my hiring choices because he's like, well, they don't have this experience. I was like, or this skill. I was like, I can teach that. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I can teach anybody how to do our process. I'm like, but I can't teach this person who showed up to their interview 5 minutes late to show up to work on time.
Yep.
Or I can't teach this third person who was just in the interview to have passion for what they're
Yeah.
doing. So I would hire on all of those intangible, what they call soft skills,
Mm-hmm.
because I like that diamond in the rough. I like shaping. I love giving someone that opportunity.
Yep.
And so yeah, I'm with you. I think a lot of we did that a lot more as an industry, but we're starting to see that. Let me rephrase. We're starting to see the results of that mindset that's coming into
Agreed.
the younger leadership in.
And I think a lot of that has been driven by women too, right? Like being able to say, hey, like I remember there was a young gentleman that, again, single dad, and very rare to have a single
Mm-hmm.
dad, right? And so I remember my mom like challenged him. He's, what are you going to do for your son, right? Like how are you going to
Mm-hmm.
show that you can be a strong father and a strong provider and this and that, and groom him, right, to follow in those same footsteps? And he was like, I've never had, especially a women, leader do that for me. He's like, and I got my life together, right? Like, and that's the type of stuff that, again, like it might feel soft, but in reality it's incredibly strong. And I think that's what we need more of in our industry. So yeah.
Absolutely. Right. And so I want to ask you, because now what I'm hearing is you intentionally surround yourself with people who believe in you and who you believe in. How can you share with us how you do that?
Yeah. I honestly, I feel like that's been one of the biggest struggles, I would say, within my career. I think I've done it well when it comes to my life in general, right? Like I've had good mentors and good people in my life. But when it came to my career, that was a struggle. That was a struggle to find, not only men that would support me and grow me and want to see me succeed, but also women, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
it can be really, really tough. And like I remember even when I started with Woken and everything, again, my mom came to me and was like, are you sure these women are good for you? Right? Like, are you sure,
Mm,
they're supportive and this and that? And I get it, right? Like she had women that, should have been supportive that were not, and it's a sad thing, but I think it's also potentially like a generational thing. And I think there's a lot of women who are trying to break that. And I think that's where you got to find people who like you for you, right? Not trying to be fake. I think you have to find people who want to grow with you, right? Like, and growth always isn't just the wins and the celebrations, it's the mess, you know? And I have an incredible group of people that, again, like, you know, even as my mom was going through her cancer battle and it was very quick and everything and it was really tough, I had people who, again, from all over the industry that I now, you know, they're my friends now and I'm so grateful for it, but being like, how are you doing, what do you need, how can we support you, or even just you need some food, right? Like you need something. And you know, because I got the question a lot at NADA. Are you okay? And it's like in so many ways I'm not okay, right? Like I'm always gonna miss my mom. But I could never, ever discount the amount of support and the beautiful relationships I have had in the last 5 years, but especially through that period, that again, like that gratitude alone, that's a blessing. And so that's where I really think I would encourage people to find your people, like, you know, and you can call it vibes, you can call it frequency, you can call it whatever you want to, right?
Yeah.
Like, but at the end of the day, you find the people that make you feel the most like you and the most safe, and you're going to grow exponentially. And maybe it's not always beautiful growth, but it's the growth that you need to get to where you want to be.
Absolutely. So, okay, so shifting really quick personally, I wasn't sure how to navigate the conversation about your mom. So I appreciate you bringing her up. And I want to tell you, as a mom, I hope my daughters speak of me like you do her.
Thank you. Oh, I didn't mean to make you cry. Well, so some background, like my mom and I had a really tough relationship when I was growing up, right? Like for a long time, I always wondered if she didn't like me, right? Like, cause I just seemed to always be like her, the button pusher, right? Like I seemed to never do anything right. And so, you know, like there was a period of time I really learned to live without my mom. And so, you know, like, and that was tough. But then when I moved home, our relationship got a lot better. And it took some of that messy growth, right? Like of like, well, why can't you just admit you're ashamed of me? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, but having some of those unfun conversations, right? And again, as much as it sucks, like the last 5 years of our relationship were probably the best. And, you know, it's so for people that don't know that are watching this, so my mom was the seventh female Toyota dealer principal in the nation, first female Hyundai dealer on the East Coast. And again, like she didn't want me in this industry for the longest time. She was like, it's tough as a woman, this and that. So we really butted heads. Like I loved it. She, you know, did it is a good way to put it, you know, from her family. And, you know, again, it was always tough because I think now I know, right? Like in those 6 weeks of the type of conversations like you don't really want to have, but at the end of your life, you start to have. She was like, I was so afraid that you were going to walk into the same footsteps that I had to walk into that I didn't want you to have to go through that, right? Like, I didn't want you to have to deal with the stuff I was dealing with. And now I'm like, oh my God, it makes so much more sense, right? Like, of all the stuff and everything else. And she just kept apologizing to me towards the end. And I'm like, first and foremost, Mom, like, please do not apologize to me, right? Like, that's the last thing. Like, you were a mom. You were trying to protect your kid. And even though I'm not a mom myself, like how can I not admire that? But I think the most beautiful part was like, she's like, I am so proud of you that you have grown and you have become so strong. And again, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry, but
You're fine.
but it's like, I'm trying to find the words to describe what I want to describe, but you might think someone doesn't want the best for you, because maybe they're trying to block something or, you know, you're trying to like do something. You're like, why can't you just be proud of me or happy or whatever? But in reality, there's a lot of fear behind that. And it takes a lot of courage to be able to say, I'm afraid, right? And so that is the one beautiful gift I think my mom gave me towards the end of her life, is to be brave and to say, yeah, maybe I'm afraid. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to learn more. Or maybe that's a messy growth path, right? Like, and I'm a little scared, But exactly like we were talking about with that group of support and people in your life, you're going to have someone go, take my hand. We're going together. We're going through this. And I think that was the most beautiful lesson in those last 6 weeks is like, life's never going to be perfect. Life, you have no idea. Like my mom had no idea she had cancer until, again, the last 6 weeks. Like she just thought she had an ulcer, and it goes to show like you literally never know what's going to happen in life. And that's why you have to make every single day as impactful and as beautiful as possible. And like be selfish because life is selfish. So be selfish with it. And that's, I think, the greatest lesson I've had in the last few months is like, just go for it. Be bold, be loud, be you. I wrote those words in 2024 and it's now my mantra. Like you've got to just keep moving forward and bring that legacy forward.
I love it. Now I have to ask because I don't know this because, well,
sure.
I'm just coming. You came on my radar right before the last Women in Automotive. I think it was around the time Joe's dealer camp, whatever, is when you got on my radar. Did you know Bobby Heron? Because you remind me so much of her.
So like I had met Bobby briefly at, oh God, I'm trying to remember which conference it was. Maybe it was NAMAD or like NADA or something. And I remember being like, she's cool. Like, right? Like, even though I never really got a chance to like, like even though I never really got a chance to know her very well. And then obviously I've met Jen Briggs, who was her best friend, and like Mabel Peralta is one of my really good friends. So like I've known a lot of women around her. And when she passed, I was heartbroken for her kids, like same thing. And thankfully her daughter and I have, talked a bit here and there, and just like how blessed we are to have had moms, right? That like are powerhouses. And like as much as it sucks, like we can only hope to move forward in that same powerhouse type of mentality that they had and honor their legacy. So
absolutely. I love that. She was a dear friend. I pray for her kids still, like constantly. Okay.
Sorry if I took that down.
No, you were just fine. Yes, I love this conversation. I told you it's just gonna be a conversation. We're gonna see where it goes. But I do want to, because you talked about the way you learn, and so I want to touch on that because you did a very vulnerable post sharing about how you realized that when you got older, you weren't dumb. You learned differently. You had mentioned you have autism. I would suspect probably a little bit of ADHD type in there.
Yeah, probably
right?
a little mixture.
that little cocktail we tend to get for our generation. When you made that realization that you're not dumb, you just learn differently, you process differently, what shifted in you? What opened up?
So, again, it happened very young. Like I think it was like 6th grade, right? Where my teacher was teaching me math with M&Ms, and like all of a sudden, like seeing the different colors and seeing the different, quantities, I'm like, oh, this makes much more sense. But I would say I think it really blossomed when I started doing musical theater. I'm a singer, and I was a part of, actually, I'm going to be doing the first play I've ever done in 15 years in March with this school that I have done. And now actually my nephews go to, but I have a mentor there who owns the school, and she was like, Erica, I want you to focus on learning the words, learning the music. And then once you've learned the words and the music, right, like together, then I want you to focus on what story are you trying to convey as you sing it, right? Like, and being able to understand the layers to which I have to learn really has helped me a lot because, again, like, I'm a very visual learner. I'm also very auditory, so music helps me as well. But I'm not just you can't just talk to me without giving me, oh, hi, Ellie. See, there we go.
You show up.
Yeah, I warned Tara before. I was like, my cats might show up. But being able to understand that I learn in layers really, really helps me because then, it's not just, like data as a good example. It's not just, oh, throw numbers at me or whatever. I have to figure out the story of why or what is happening. And I think that's the part too that like now we're starting to see it in a lot of learning platforms where they tell more of a story to, bring home that relatable learning. But for me, it always helped me if I could get like the layers of like, okay, why do I need seven M&Ms, right? Like
Right.
why do I need to know why George Washington crossed the Delaware, right? Like being able to put it together in a path and a pattern helps me a lot.
So how did that translate into confidence in your career?
Ooh. You know, I think confidence is built every single day. I think it's patterns. I think it's habits. I think it's, believing in yourself. And I would say that confidence building for me was a little tough, right? Because I was really bullied when I was younger. I was always a bigger kid. And especially as a female, like almost being 6 foot tall. I mean, like, let's get real. Yeah, like
I'm barely 5 foot, so I get it.
I just call myself the Jolly Green Giant, right? Like I'm here to make it all better. And so
Oh my gosh.
but
Oh.
I think accepting who I am, right, helps me ultimately to build my confidence and realizing, like, again, like, I might not be the most beautiful woman that walks into a room. I might not be the smartest person that walks into the room. I might not be, all these things that we say are so important, right? But I know I'm probably going to be the most willing to learn. I know I'm probably going to be the most eager to learn about you, right? As another person, what can I learn from you? How can I help you? This and that. I know I'm going to be someone who, at the end of the day, I'm not perfect, right? Like, I am not perfect. I have been through my crap, and, I am trying each day to be a little bit better, 1% better, as they say. And so I think that's what has helped me build my confidence in my career is understanding that I get to learn every single day, and I get to learn beside incredible people, and hopefully I can help build other incredible people. And if that's even just the tiniest bit of my legacy, I feel like I have done a really, really great job. And I think that's where, I would encourage other people to think of it too, of like, what are the things that make me special or make me unique? And how can I bring that to either my job or the industry in general to then bring more light into it?
Absolutely. And I love that you said just be a little bit better than today than yesterday. And okay, so I have my own personal work that I do outside of Women in Automotive, and I just recently launched a newsletter to my audience called Better Than Yesterday.
Oh, I
And
love
that's
it.
exactly what it focuses on. It's just what can we do just a little bit better? And you've kind of answered my next question, but I want to see if there's a little bit more to
Please.
it. Um,
Excuse
because
me.
I saw that recently you've been referred to as an automotive influencer.
Yes, which is so
What
cool.
does I love it. What does influence mean to you in this industry?
That is a fantastic question because, I was thinking about that at NADA of like when I got told that, and I'm like, oh my God, that's like, eh, that was never my intention, right? Like, I was never like, even though I was talking to one of my friends who I worked with at Nissan last night, and he's like, I don't know, it seems like you just want attention. And I'm like, it's not about attention, right? Like, it's about shining a light on things that probably should get attention, but historically never have. And so,
Mhm.
like, if I can be, as one of my Nissan RVPs called me, the bull in the china shop that then clears the path for that to happen, so be it. Like, all right, then I'm a bull. Let's go, right? Like, and I think owning that helps too, right? With it, where we were
Mm,
talking about like that confidence of like, you know what, that's me, and
mhm.
I'm not so afraid of it anymore. And I would say influence, though, at the end of it all is being able to inspire others, right? Like being able to inspire them and to help them and to grow them, just like we were talking about, like even if it's messy growth, right? But you're going to get better on the other side. To
Mhm.
me, that's the greatest influence I could ever have on anyone. And that's what I truly hope to inspire is not just, oh, selfies or hey, how am I doing? Like all the things we think of with influencers where they're trying to sell you something or this and that, or they look really pretty. No, if anything, I hope it's almost like a Tony Robbins, I guess is a good example, like good
Okay.
analogy. Someone who's like, hey, if you focus on this, if you work on that, if you want to be this, here's the pathways to help get you there. Or how can we get there together? And maybe we'll both grow in the process, right? Like it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. So if you could go back and give your younger self one bit of career advice, what would it be?
First I just give her a hug, right? Like I think
Right?
I think that's what she needed the most. And when I think back of like, especially my first 5 years, right? When I was in the management training and then Toyota and right before I made the move to Nissan, I think younger Erica just needed someone like me in in her rear view, if you will, of like, hey, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. Just keep going, keep learning. You've got this. Stay curious, and I hope I'm doing that for other women, that are like, oh, like I don't know if this is for me, or I don't know, because I think that's one of my personal things that I have hated in the last few years is seeing how many talented women have defected from this industry purely because someone said you can't do this or they bullied them or whatever. And they got to the point where it's like, this isn't worth it anymore, right? Like I'm not as in love with it as maybe someone else. And I'm really grateful that, like, frankly, I'm so into auto that like I don't see myself ever doing anything else per se. But at the same time, you can't be something you can't see. And so we
Mm-hmm.
need to have those industry leaders or those, influencers, if you will, that can say, hey, I've done this or I've been through this. I promise you, you can get through this and you can get back up. You can stand up tall no matter what comes your way.
Oh my gosh, so true. Oh, I love it. Yeah, you would not believe how many times, because my career, I started in marketing. Okay. I made pretty pictures, is what I was told.
Yep.
And now I get to talk to women like you and share your story and write about you and get on stage and do all of these things that I was told, no, you can't do that. You make pretty pictures. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that you would be like, I be my own biggest cheerleader and remind
Yeah.
her that she's capable and she's amazing and she can do and will do extraordinary things.
Yep.
I think honestly, if we could just have speak that into everybody, how much,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I
100% agree.
have to ask because you got to sing on stage with Keith Urban, right?
I did.
What did that moment teach you about courage?
All right. So, little background. My mom was a huge Keith Urban fan. I wasn't even
Okay.
supposed to go to the party, and all of a sudden, Ashley from Ocan, Tony Lucas, who's a dealer, a few other people were texting me being like, come on, get over here. Like, we know you like Keith Urban. Like, this is a fun party. And I was like, all right, fine. And I was trying to juggle both Recall Masters and Moken activities while I was at NADA. And I was like, all right, this one's for me, right? Like, this is just a fun time. Let's go. Had a blast. And again, all these people that I've met through like a SodaCon or, past jobs. And I had like kind of heard it of like, oh, do you want to come up on stage? But I didn't really hear it very well. And I was like, oh, this kid's like going up on stage. How do you get to do that? And then all of a sudden, again, my entire group of people were like, her, like, because they all know I sing. And I was like, yeah, sure, like, let's do it. And my dad is a massive Steve Miller fan too. So like the fact of the Joker, like I know this song, but evidently all I could think of was just the chorus. But at the same time, like I just went up there and I had fun and I just sang. And I feel really bad for the kid who was with me because I guess it was supposed to be a competition and I kind of just took it over. But I did like hand him the mic and he was just like, no, I'm not following that.
Like, how can I follow that?
Yeah, he was like, I'm not like I'm good. Like, but it was so fun. And then Keith Urban was like, you killed it, babe. And I was like, thank you.
That
But the
is
best part
amazing.
was, and I know I did a post about it, but when I got off stage, of course, like all my friends were so excited. But I listened to the videos after, and I got a few videos from different people. And at first I'm like, oh my god, like I missed the lyrics, I missed this note. As a singer, I'm like criticizing myself. And then all of a sudden, I listened really closely, and I heard, "Oh my God, look at her go! Hey, bring it on! Oh, I'm on Instagram Live! Like, oh, this is so cool!" And like the encouragement of everyone. And I think, don't get me wrong, Keith Urban, fantastic, life made moment, right? But
Right.
to me, that support and that encouragement from everybody in the audience that I've known and that I now consider my friends, that was the most beautiful part of the entire thing. Like that really, that's what we all want in life, right? Like we
Hmm.
want the people cheering us on. And I'm really grateful that not only did I get that really cool experience in general, but I had that beautiful moment that people support and, care about me. And that's a great thing.
I love that. So what I'm hearing is do it afraid and
Yes.
let your people support you.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing whatever I'm doing today if I did not do those two things.
I love that. Okay, so before we wrap up, I ask everybody this one question. What is something you wish I would have asked you today that I didn't?
Ooh, ah, mm. Oh God, that's a good one. You know what? I would, I would challenge all of us, right? Like,
Okay.
what is our personal legacy that we can give to others that can help grow not only women in automotive, right, but our industry as a whole? And I think that's something that I would love to hear what other women answer with, because I think that's the most important thing that we can do is build something that, kind of like Bobby, like when we're not here anymore, people are still talking about. It's the most beautiful thing you can do.
Absolutely. So what's the legacy you want to build?
I think for me, I want people to see me and go, if she can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly what they're going to get out of this. Thank you so much, Erica, for sharing your
Thank you,
time and
Dara.
your story with me and just trusting me. I cannot wait to hear what our audience has to say in response to your challenge to them. So thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you. I appreciate you so much. And I look forward to getting to know you more.
Me too.